last time we had both of you on, it was pre-COVID-19. Let me ask you, Glenn, right out of the box, most significant impact from a leadership point of view of COVID-19 on the organization?
From an organizational standpoint, seeing everybody rise to the occasion and seeing the lessons that come out of it and sort of testing your mettle.
And Lori, let me turn to you. When we talk about COVID-19, I keep saying to Mary, and we'll talk about this later, that COVID-19 has created all kinds of challenges, fiscal challenges, organizational challenges, safety and health challenges. But I've also said that it creates, quote, opportunity for innovation. I don't want that to be a cliche or a bumper sticker. I really believe that. Do you believe that there's an opportunity for innovation here?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that, as Glenn said, our team has really pulled together with this whole thing. We started with a plan based on some kind of a forecast that we had no way of really knowing, but try to anticipate what's going to happen. And we all pulled together and worked to accomplish that. I mean, from the very, very beginning and getting everyone set up to work remotely inside of 8 days, taking a capacity of 250 people to 650 people virtually in 8 days, we were able to do that. And I think that that was the first step in really figuring out what the new normal was and figuring out what worked and what didn't work and trying to plan for it appropriately.
You know what's interesting, Glenn? You spent part of the time in Florida, right?
Correct.
How challenging has it been for you, because you're in upstate New York now, Lori's where she is. How challenging has it been to communicate and connect with your colleagues, with everyone being all over the place?
It's a double-edged sword, right? I think we're connecting fine. I actually think in some cases we're connecting more often, more frequently. So the negative there is you really do have to learn a new way to turn it off, because you're pretty much always at work. From a communication standpoint, I'm actually talking to more people than I've spoken to in a very long time, one after the other. And I talk to people that had offices down the hall from me that I probably didn't stop in and see as often as I'm seeing now.
This edition of Lessons in Leadership is brought to you by Gibbons PC, Prager Metis, Valley Bank, and the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 825.